All right, let's dive into Riley's world. Being a teenager, all that stuff about figuring out who you are and where you fit in, we've got some interesting stuff to work with here. Dialogue, kind of like those conversations we have with ourselves, especially as teenagers.
Yeah, I see that. It's like we're peeking into Riley's thoughts and feelings, but it's not just what's happening on the outside. It's that internal battle between all her different emotions. Like her inner compass is spinning, trying to figure out which way to go.
Exactly. It really is. And in this first scene, that compass is going haywire. It's that classic coach's evaluation, the one that could make or break you socially. And what's causing all the anxiety? A mysterious red notebook.
Oh, that red notebook. So much pressure. It's the unknown, right? The fear of judgment, rejection. Riley's emotions are going crazy, understandably.
Yeah, no kidding. Anxiety's freaking out. Envy's comparing Riley to everyone else. And they're both building up these worst-case scenarios, like she's going to get cut from the team or something. I mean, so relatable.
Totally. It reminds me of that whole imaginary audiences thing. Teenagers always feeling like they're being watched and judged. No wonder their self-consciousness and anxieties are so intense.
Like they're on stage all the time. But in the middle of all this drama, there's Ennui with her dry humor. Not quite reason, but definitely a different perspective.
I'm glad you noticed that Ennui being so detached, which seems negative, but think about it. She's not getting caught up in the hysteria, so she can be more grounded.
Good point. Sometimes a little distance helps you see things more clearly. And speaking of seeing things clearly, Scene 2 throws Riley into this minefield of awkwardness. She's trying to walk with the cool kids, and suddenly, even swinging her arms feels wrong.
Ugh, so awkward. But we've all been there, right? That self-awareness that teenagers feel, especially what they want to fit in. Remember that imaginary audience we were talking about? Now imagine that audience is all the cool kids. The pressure to conform is huge.
No kidding. Like everybody else got the memo on how to be cool, except Riley. And now she's scrambling to catch up. Her emotions aren't helping either.
It's like they're amplifying her insecurities. Envy wants her to copy everyone else, and anxiety is making every little thing seem like a big deal, right? Just makes her feel even more awkward.
And then, damn, Ennui saves the day. She suggests using her pockets so she didn't have to worry about swinging her arms. Simple and brilliant.
Totally. And what I find interesting is Ennui isn't trying to change Riley. She's just finding a way to deal with the situation that makes her uncomfortable. Like sometimes the best way is to just find a workaround. Be yourself without drawing too much attention.
Yeah, and maybe even a subtle message that trying too hard to be cool can backfire. So in Scene 3, we move from the outside drama to Riley's head. It's like we're in her headquarters and her emotions are having a meltdown. Anger is furious, fear is panicking, joy is trying to force this optimism, but it just seems fake.
This is key because now we're seeing the turmoil underneath what she's showing everyone else. All those external pressures are creating chaos inside her head.
Like a pressure cooker in there. And then fear says something that really stuck with me. I don't like her words and actions, but I think I can change her. Wow. What's happening there?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's that struggle between wanting to be accepted and staying true to yourself. Is Riley actually wanting to change for the better, or is she just trying to mold herself into what she thinks the group will like?
Such a tough line to walk, figuring out who you are while also trying to fit in. You're always second-guessing yourself.
It really is. And in Scene 4, we see Riley going through another classic teenage experience, the dreaded music test. She's asked about her favorite band, and internally, you can just feel the panic, right? All her emotions are scrambling, trying to find a cool answer.
Oh, I know. It's so cringy, but so relatable. Who hasn't felt that pressure to seem like you know what's cool, even if you have to fake it? It's like, do you follow the crowd or do you follow your own thing?
I like that follow your own beat because that's what Riley's dealing with, trying to figure out if she actually fits in with this group or she's forcing it.
And it's even funnier because her musical knowledge seemed to come from like jingles and her dad's yacht rock collection.
Right. Like you don't have to be an expert to be accepted. Sometimes your own unique taste, that's what makes you stand out in a good way.
I like that, yeah. Own your thing instead of trying to blend in.
And it's Ennui of all the emotions who steps up and helps Riley through this.
You know, it's funny. We always think of emotions like joy and excitement as the ones that push us forward. But sometimes it's the quieter ones, like Ennui, that give you a different kind of strength.
That's a really good point. It goes back to emotional intelligence, recognizing your emotions, understanding them, and managing them. And sometimes that means letting all of them have their space, even the ones that seem, I don't know, less appealing.
So maybe Anui, with her quiet confidence, not pretending to be anything she's not, maybe she's teaching Riley something about authenticity. Being comfortable with yourself, even if you're, well, a little ennuied sometimes.
I like that. Authenticity is key to real connection. If you try too hard to fit in, you end up hiding who you are, and then it's hard to build those real relationships.
Makes sense. So in a way, Riley isn't just navigating high school, she's navigating her own inner world. Even more complicating.
Right. And then in scene 5, we see Riley using another typical teenage tool, sarcasm, to deflect attention and avoid judgment. That last line, "Oh yeah, I love Get Up and Glow," totally dripping with sarcasm, hiding how she really feels.
It's like a wall of irony to keep people out, to protect herself from getting hurt or rejected.
It's a pretty common defense mechanism, especially for teenagers. They're still figuring out who they are and how to deal with all these feelings. Sarcasm can be a way to get those feelings out there without feeling too exposed or vulnerable.
I get that. And it makes you think, how many of us have been there? Feeling like we have to pretend to say the right things to fit in, even if it means hiding who we are.
It's universal. Wanting to belong is so strong, sometimes we compromise who we are even if it hurts our authenticity.
So how do we, like Riley, find that balance between fitting in and being ourselves? How do you get through those situations where you feel the pressure to conform?
That's the big question, and we'll keep exploring that as we go deeper with Riley. But I think self-awareness is crucial. Recognizing your own emotions, what triggers them, and how to manage them.
Paying attention to your gut feeling, right? The one that tells you if something feels right or wrong, real or fake.
Yeah, exactly. It's about listening to that inner voice, trusting that it'll guide you, even if it means not always following what everyone else expects.
So we've been going through all these little snippets of Riley's life, and it's amazing how much her inner world kind of mirrors what we all go through as teens, right? Wanting to belong, feeling the pressure to be like everyone else, and trying to figure out who you really are.
And it really hit to me that even though she's trying so hard to fit in with this group, she's also, questioning if they're even right for her.
I see that too. Remember when Fear said she should change to be more like them? There was that tension between being accepted and being herself.
Exactly. And that tension, it's a sign that she's growing. She's not just going along with what everyone else is doing. She's actually thinking about if their values, what they're into, if that matches who she is. It's like she's getting a stronger sense of herself, so she can question if this group really reflects who she is, who she wants to be.
Like realizing that belonging isn't just about people liking you. It's about feeling comfortable being yourself.
Exactly. And that's so important for healthy relationships and feeling good about yourself. It lets her make choices that are true to her, even if it means being different or doing things that are a little scary.
Which makes me wonder, what advice would we give Riley? As she's figuring out friendships and stuff, what could we tell her to help her through all the ups and downs?
Well, first I'd say embrace those things that make you you. Those little quirks, the things you're passionate about, those are what will attract real friends, people who like you for who you are.
It's like knowing that what makes you different is what makes you special, right? And sometimes it takes guts to show that, especially when everyone around you seems so cool and confident.
Totally. And you have to remember, finding those people who really get you, it takes time. You got to try things, put yourself out there, and see where you feel comfortable and accepted.
And not every group or friendship is going to be perfect, right? Sometimes even the awkward stuff, it teaches you about yourself and what you want in a relationship.
Exactly. You learn, you grow, and you move towards the connections that really matter. And don't forget, Riley's not alone in this. She's got family, friends, maybe teachers or mentors who can help her along the way.
Like having a cheering section, people who believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. As we wrap up this look into Riley's world, I think it's important to see that her story is everyone's story, no matter how old you are. We've all felt that need to connect, that fear of being rejected, and that struggle to figure out who we are and where we fit in.
It's part of being human, right? And I think Riley's journey shows us how to deal with all of that, with more self-awareness, being true to ourselves, and a little bit of kindness for ourselves and others.
And a little humor, too, because let's face it, life can be awkward, especially when you're a teenager. But those awkward moments, they shape us, they teach us, and they help us become who we're meant to be.
So we say goodbye to Riley and her emotional roller coaster, but we keep that sense of hope. Because even with all the worries and uncertainty, there's always room to grow, to connect, and to discover ourselves. Thanks for joining us, and remember, this is just the beginning.